to present to you my collection of skates. I actually don't collect skates, I just skate them. The first pair, my old K2 skates. I don't own the K2 skates anymore, I gave them away. I bought them in the late 1990s, in the golden ages of skating when basically everybody skated. They were my first pair of proper inline skates actually. They were regular four-wheel skates with soft boots, because that's what they sold to girls back then. Now what happened to this pair of skates? After 2 decades of skating them intensively, yeah, the inner padding started to dissolve. I got blisters. It was quite a nuisance. So a friend of mine said, well, don't throw them away. I could still use them to walk my dogs, just a few kilometers per day. So I said, well, why not? So the next thing I did was look for a worthy replacement for my old K2 skates. And during this process I found out about Triskates. Especially big wheel Triskates. What I ended up with was the Powerslide Swell Trinity 125. They are 3-wheel skates, as you can see, with a wheel diameter of 125 millimeters. Their hardness is 68A. They used to have wicked ABAC 9 bearings, which are replaced, but that's a different story. The boot is a flexible nylon upper, and they have a glass fiber reinforced lower shell. The frame is casted aluminum. It's mounted to the boot with 3 screws, the famous Trinity mounting. 2 here on the front and 1 in the back, which is underneath the wheels somewhere here. It gives you a nice amount of stability and responsiveness and keeps you low to the ground despite the big wheels. Where do I skate? Or for which places do I recommend them? Well, once you're comfortable in the skates, which might take a few adjustments, like in my case, but that's also a different story. You can skate them on asphalt of any kind, on rough or smooth surfaces. You can even cross cobbled sections. Doesn't feel comfortable, but still skatable. Personally, I use them as my night setup with LED wheels, or at least one front wheel with LEDs, because in the darkness there's quite a danger of getting stuck and struggle over obstacles. So the big wheels are perfect for that. They just roll over uneven surfaces and obstacles if they're not too massive. So they're perfect night setup. The 3 big PU wheels are also a good middle ground between 4 regular small wheels on one hand and inflatable wheels on the other hand. They're a good compromise. Even if you won't win a marathon with these guys, you will still be able to skate a marathon distance, at least if you're in decent shape. So you might wonder, if the Swell skates were so swell, why did I buy another pair? Well, I did have some issues with the Swell skates. They were not exactly comfortable. The wheels were a bit too tall for me. I felt inhibited by the frame length. For me as a small lady, it's a bit too long, and the wheels a bit too big, and I didn't feel safe doing crossovers. Might be perfect for tall men, yes. In my case, it wasn't meant to be. So I did some more research and found out about carbon skates. So they could be heat molded in the oven if you do it right. They become like a soft boot, all wobbly and hot, and they mold perfectly to your foot. So I had no more pressure points. And yeah, what kind of model is this? It's the Powerslide Hardcore Evo Pro, the Trinity model, also with the 3 screws. And it's not the standard setup. I bought the boot, the frame and the wheels separately. The standard setup for the Hardcore Evo is 3x90, and this is 3x100 millimeter. Why not 90? I didn't want to go back to wheels that are too small because I like the smooth ride on 125s, and I kind of had some worries that smaller wheels might not be as perfect on the rough roads here in my neighborhood. The wheels are the Matter wheels, track road marathon wheels, 100 millimeters, F2, 84A. It's rather soft, but quite dampening and very comfortable. They are bouncy, like a bouncy ball. They give you an enormous amount of propulsion. You can jump to kangaroo mode, kind of. Yeah, it's fun. You can really accelerate within a short time, but they're not good for sliding. It's something you won't see me do in my videos because they are very grippy. But I like that. The frame is the Katana frame. It's rockable, so you can move the center and the back wheel up or down and adjust it to whatever rocker you want. I found out that a 3-wheel rocker is quite unstable. It's something you gotta get used to. So I prefer the natural rocker they have now. You can use the middle wheel as a pivot point, and it's agile enough for my taste, but I wanted to keep it versatile, so I chose the rockable frame. The only disadvantage of the Katana frame might not matter to you, but is that you cannot mount a heel brake. There's no option for this frame, but it's a pro skater frame, so the first thing I did was practice some new braking techniques, preferably those that don't ruin your wheels within a short amount of time. Now the question is, where do I skate the Hardcore Evo skates? They're basically my everyday setup. Actually, they are designed as a slalom boot or for freestyle skating. That's why you're able to do many tricks without even practicing. They do, for example, the Daffy was so easy to do. I've never done it before, but it came so naturally because you're so tight in the boot. So no matter if you're into urban, freestyle, slalom, or fitness skating, I highly recommend to check out this skate in detail. And the next two pairs of skates are off-road skates. Let's start with the Powerslide Shockliner. This is a fancy looking skate and it draws a lot of attention. I get many questions. What kind of skate is this? What is it good for? Well, I was lucky to be able to try it before actually using it, because I never would have bought it myself. I got it from a colleague of mine who is into backcountry skiing, and she was looking for an alternative to do some training in summer, and that's what caught her attention first. Unfortunately for her, but luckily for me, they didn't fit her, so she asked me whether I wanted to try them, and I said, yeah, why not? They didn't fit me either. I have to say that they were really painful in the ankle area, but I glued some material inside the shell and adapted them to my foot shape because the liner is heat moldable, but it's not enough to just heat mold the liner. It doesn't solve the problem. So I made them fit, and I use them wearing ankle booties. I could make a whole video on how I adjusted these skates to my feet. Let me just describe their main features real quick. The most obvious one is the suspension system. The frame It absorbs floor unevenness to a surprising degree. It's not just the 125mm inflatable wheels, but mostly the frame that takes away the vibrations from the ground. They have a quick lacing system. Unfortunately, that doesn't contribute to the comfort of the boot. So these and some other weaknesses might have been the reason that they're not produced any longer. They're not available anymore. Maybe on eBay or Amazon. One skate has a cuff brake. It's quite efficient, but also damages the wheel. I get a flat tire quite often on these skates. So I always have to carry spare wheels. Where do I skate them? I love skating the Shockliner skates on concrete dirt paths, on rough pavements, on sand paths, like in parks. The trails should be dry and well maintained though. I skate them with poles because you do need some additional propulsion. The skates themselves are rather slow. The next pair of skates are the Powerslide SUV Metropolis. I have to adjust something here because one of you guys recommended in the comments that whenever you remove the middle wheel, like I did, you should at least keep the axle in place to keep the frame stable. Yeah, that's a good idea. So thanks for that. Yeah, I'm always grateful to get comments and recommendations and tips. That's rather helpful. I was lucky to get the SUV skates secondhand. It took me a while and some adaptations as well until I got used to the skates, but now I really enjoy them. They also have 125mm wheels, inflatable tires. They are longer lasting for some reason on the SUVs than they are on the Shockliner skates. They have a hard shell boot with a removable liner and a lacing system that goes up to the 45-degree strap. And there's just a second buckle to tighten the boot on top. Originally they are Triskates right out of the box, but as I said, I removed the middle wheel to keep them lightweight. Now the question is, where do I skate them? I can put a link to the video Let's Get Dirty into the description box, or somewhere here or here or here. They're basically my rain setup because the wheels are really grippy. If you don't have rain wheels for your inline skates, you might consider this an alternative because they are very sticky and grippy, and you can still get a decent amount of speed out of the wheels there if they're fully inflated. I still carry a set of poles with me every time I skate them, just in case there are uphills that can be very exhausting. Compared to the Shockliner skates, the SUVs feel less dampened but more agile and more responsive. They have better power transfer. To make the overview complete, I also have to show you my Bauer ice skates. I can't tell you a lot about these guys because I'm not an expert at ice skating. Skating on a frozen lake would actually be something I really enjoy, but it hasn't been cold enough in years. The crowded ice rink is only my last option during long bad weather periods in winter. Something I've been using more regularly during the last 2 or 3 years are these Backcountry skiing boots by Salomon. The skating technique on backcountry skis is still something that's quite new to me. Off-road skating on inflatable wheels is a good preparation and a good training for it though. I hope that was kind of interesting for you, and if you have any further questions regarding any of these skates, I'd be happy to answer them. And please also let me know if I should do a separate video on details, the pros and cons of any of these skates. I'd be happy to. And yeah, stay healthy, stay safe, have fun skating if you can, and see you in the next video. Bye!